Transformers 1, the best Transformers film of the modern era? I say yes. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now, I don't know if it's a really controversial statement. I don't think so. I mean, many people like the new Transformers films, or at least the first two. I've got a soft spot for the first three, I suppose, and particularly the first one, because as a kid who grew up with Transformers, it was just cool seeing them on the big screen. I mean, of course. I mean, Shia LaBeouf and Michael Bay, I mean, oh God. You know, and there's so many other things in those films that you could discuss and pick apart and all sorts. But, you know, it was just cool finally seeing them on the screen. But, that being said, Transformers 1 just blew me away in many ways. The look and design of it, the story itself, the feel of it all. It makes you wonder, and well, not wonder, I suppose it's quite simple why it wasn't done, but still, it makes you wish that could we not have just started with this film, you know, as you could see it is, because we've got, I mean, this is a prequel, so in that sense, they could have started with it. It would have been very cool and would have led us in a very, very different direction in terms of Transformers cinema storytelling. Yeah, so as you can tell, I'm a really big fan of this film. I really regret, when it came out, I had heard about it, I heard it was good, I heard that they had sort of mucked up the marketing a bit, because I too felt it was just a kid's film, you know, trying to cash in on kids. I mean, Hasbro makes it, so it's a toy company, so you know. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's too far to stray with your thoughts to assume, you know, a toy company is trying to get the kids to buy their toys. But yes, so they definitely mucked up the marketing. Still, back then, I had thought about seeing it, didn't manage to get to the cinemas, and now I regret it even more, because not only is the film good, but the film financially was not a success, and Paramount has said, you know, while originally they had thought of making it into a trilogy, maybe, they have put all plans for it on ice, which is a real shame, because this film absolutely deserves to have a sequel. You know, if they were going to give us one, and obviously they had thought about it. So yes, this is a really, really big shame that films like Transformers Rise of the Beasts keep getting made, although that didn't make nearly as much money as they would hope for, while these kind of films are just laid by the wayside. Anyway, let's talk about the plot. What is this about? Transformers 1 is trying to tell the origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron. You know, we get to see these bots before they turned into the big arch enemies and before they've come to Earth, of course. So we are on Cybertron, if you're not familiar with it, the Transformers' home planet. And the interesting thing from the get-go is that these are not yet Optimus Prime and Megatron. They've got different names in this story. They can't even transform. They don't have their cogs, as they're called. They can't even transform. So there are these smaller bots in the hierarchy of the people in Cybertron. So you've got them. They're sort of the lowest form. They're just simple bots. They can't do much. You've got ones with cogs. You know, they can actually transform and do stuff. And then you've got the primes, which, you know, Optimus Prime is also a name you might be familiar with, implying that these are beings that are, you know, more. What we're witnessing is that they're struggling on their planet because they use Energon, which is their energy source, to, well, power everything, including their own life. And because of a sort of catastrophic event, they are forced to live underground and actually mine for this Energon. And so they're desperately trying to do this, while their leader, Sentinel Prime, he is trying, he keeps taking these trips to the surface, you know, really putting him and his well, followers, bodyguards, whatever you want to call them, soldiers, etc., at risk. You know, they're trying to find the matrix of leadership, which is this, I'll call it, magical thing, which you can use to actually not just lead your people, as it were, but also you're able to communicate with the being at the center of the planet, right, who is like the Transformers god, I'll call it. I'm not too deep in the lore, so this is all just paraphrasing from what I kind of remember from the film. So they're hoping they'll find this leadership matrix on the surface, and it will help them get more and easy access to the Energon instead of having to dangerously mine it all the time. Now we've got these two bots, like I say, I'll just call them Optimus Prime and Megatron. They're not called that here yet, but you know, it'll make it easier for you to follow along. They're best friends. Megatron just wants to really do everything by the book. He wants to make a name for himself as a miner. Optimus Prime always is sort of trying to stray off the path a bit. He's got big dreams, big plans, big ideas, and that gets him into trouble because while he's got good intentions, he doesn't go about it the right way. So he's put it in his mind he wants to try and help Sentinel Prime find this leadership matrix. So like he breaks into archives to find out information about where it could be and stuff. They enter a race that they're not supposed to enter in because they're not Transformers, you know. And they're trying to do various things to help. They end up being on the surface of the planet. I'm not telling you how. They end up being there and decide that, well, while they're there, they might as well just help find this leadership matrix, right? And this is what the film is about. Okay, that's the plot. So the Transformers are kind of stuck on their own planet beneath the surface, trying to fight for their own survival, trying to find the means to just get their life energy, as it were, back in, you know, abundance. Yes, that's all I'll tell you. You'll have to watch the film to find out the rest. It has got some twists and turns, so that this may have sounded a bit simple. Now, to address one of the elephants in the room, you've got voice acting. Obviously, Optimus Prime has famously been voiced by Peter Cullen in pretty much every iteration of the character, and while I absolutely adore his voice as well, he's not voiced by him here. To me, it makes sense. They've chosen Chris Hemsworth. Now, you might think about him what you want. I think he's a good fit. He obviously feels and sounds younger than Peter Cullen does, or even did back in the 80s in the actual Transformers series. So it's interesting because, correctly so, he portrays a less wise form of Optimus Prime here. He doesn't try to just impersonate Peter Cullen. He does here and there try to add some of the things that we know, so they are trying to connect it sort of to Peter Cullen's voice. But yeah, it's done in a very organic way. I quite like this portrayal, so it's very fun to see Optimus Prime being a bit more, you know, less just the wise guy who doesn't take action too quickly and just gives orders and stuff, being a bit sort of, you know, adventurous in that sense, and not always doing the right thing and getting himself into trouble by just really spontaneously doing things. I thought that was quite fun. At the same time, it was very interesting just seeing Megatron. He's voiced by Brian Tyree Henry, so it's quite fun seeing him as the more serious, the more grown-up bot in this whole thing. You've also got Scarlett Johansson in this film. She voices a bot who initially was sort of the leader of the mining gang, then there's an incident, and then she's kind of just stuck with them on the surface and just trying to make sure that these two idiots, as it were, don't get her killed, more or less. It's quite good. They've got Bumblebee. They've got Bumblebee in it as well. I keep forgetting the name of the actor, so just let me check. Yeah, it's Keegan-Michael Key. It's quite fun here because it's not the Bumblebee that we know who only communicates through the radio. He actually talks in this one, and they do a funny thing where he just talks too much. It's like, okay, maybe that's why he was shut up. No, he's definitely the most comic reliefy character of them all. They make a funny bunch, right? Yeah, but apart from the actors who I feel do a really good job portraying and giving a lot of life to these partially famous characters that we know, the world is amazing. I love the design of it. Cybertron, there's just so much to see there. You can immediately see why they went for animation, because there's just too much going on to turn into live action. It would have been too expensive. But the things look amazing, just the animation itself is wonderful. There's one sequence in particular where somebody is relaying sort of past events, and they've got certain effects that go on there that make everything sort of dissolve. Instead of being sort of like a hologram or something, it seems to all be made of sand, as it were. Looks amazing, I really love that. The whole thing's got a cool, fun vibe to it. I love, because obviously this is an origin story, so I just love where you see all these things that sort of, you know, foreshadow behaviour that'll come later on. And the climax of the film is amazing. You've got great action, as you can expect with Transformers. There's just a lot to really like about this film. So it's a really high recommendation from me. Again, I feel it's a shame that we all, and including myself, did not support this film enough at cinemas. I'm hoping that maybe with enough support at home, you know, with the Blu-rays, etc. I mean, I've bought mine, you know, I got mine. Maybe we can convince Paramount to continue down this path. I hope so, because I think none of us really needs a new Bayformers film, do we? But they'll probably give it to us anyway at some point. I don't know. Haven't even seen Rise of the Beasts. Don't know if that's any good. I'll have to, I suppose, find out at some point. Yes, anyway, very high recommendation from me. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say Transformers related, you know, this one, other films, etc. The Bayformers, blah, 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 blah. Anything you want to say about the Transformers, put them in the comments below. Especially, oh yes, if you've got any of the new, because I've watched the original classic animated series with my daughter, you know, to introduce her as well. First time I've seen the whole thing all the way through. If you've got any recommendations for the more modern Transformers kids series, please let me have them as well, so I'll know what to watch with her next. Well, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care, bye.